if we can build AI wisely and we have the right type of leadership around it and a lot of people get a chance to shape it, AI is going to be one of humanity's most incredible, abundant chapters. But of course, that's still a big if. Artificial intelligence, it is going to impact every single job and every single function, and with very specific kind of drilled down details. So if you're in the world of marketing, for example, you'll have to start thinking about, are you marketing products to a human or to their personal chatbot or their digital twin? Which is something that I think most marketers probably haven't considered. How do you market to a robot? And then also the things like the ethical challenges that accompany AI that are going to be unique for marketers to start thinking about. The amount of data that we give off is already a bit of a crisis, and that's just going to get more so in a world where we have brain-computer interfaces and all sorts of different ways we're being tracked. So for marketing, I mean, each individual group and industry has their own ways that they're going to relate to AI, but marketing, it's one that, where things are going to change a lot. And even just how we make and generate content, it's going to be very different.
What's one piece of AI advice that you would give to a CEO or to a marketing director or a chief marketing officer in a decision-making role?
What I do say to C-suite executives as they're thinking about AI in this moment is you have to still put on the forward-looking lens and see where things are going, because you have a lot of CEOs and companies that are just reacting to this moment and then thinking about AI as to what can I replace or who can I replace in my current company or business functions. And I think that that's the wrong direction, because then you're just building AI around a strategy for the present, not how things are going to change in the future. So I think less about we can cut 2,000 jobs now because of this tool. First of all, we're still really early in how these tools are evolving. And second, think about how you can add more value to people's lives, not just how you can cut current ways. It's kind of an antiquated way of thinking about technology. And so that's what I tell CEOs, one of the many things.
What's one thing you say today that will blow everyone's mind?
I think if there was one thing I think is going to blow people's minds, it's that we will all have a personal digital twin of ourselves that will represent us in digital spaces. So whether that's booking flights and things online, maybe you're a lawyer and your first meeting with clients is actually they're going to meet with your digital twin, your AI, to see if that's even a client that you could take on. And then once the humans needed in that process, then you would set up the meeting with them. Or celebrities will have avatars and chatbots of themselves. We all will. And while that might seem wild, if you think about what social media is right now, right, and explaining that to somebody in the 70s, we have these avatars of ourselves, photos and videos that hang in cyberspace that people interact with. So the next evolution is those imagery and those avatars of yourself being AI powered. And so I think that that's something that people might not be aware of, but I think they're going to be pretty surprised. And your digital twins and avatars will be everywhere. You'll have one at work, you'll have one that operates your social media personas, and they'll be really helpful. They'll be very proactive. It will become just as commonplace as our smartphones and how we think about them. And of course, there's I could do a whole other 10-hour session on the ethics of it all. But yeah, chatbots and these assistants are going to become very commonplace in our world.
Do you think that we run the risk of missing out on experiencing parts of life that interactions that we might have had that are now being taken care of by our digital twin?
Yeah, it depends on what we decide to outsource. Unfortunately, if we do look at some of the trends with technology like social media, outsourcing aspects of social interaction, while there have been a lot of positives and cool ways that we're connecting with people we never would have interacted with, social media in some ways has led to its own crises and loneliness and things. And so is there a risk with something like chatbots becoming more and more a part of our life that we become more isolated? Yes, and that's something that we need to be really cognizant of. And I think because of all how crazy and wild social media got in some of the negative ways, we're all more aware of that. But I think at the end of the day, do you get a lot of value scrolling through your email? Like, is that actually what makes you human? Or can something else do that? And only where your actual human mind and brain is needed, that's what you need to reply to. And so when you think about, well, what are we actually outsourcing? If we can outsource the things that don't actually matter, even things like scrolling through social media and things, if there's things that we don't actually have to respond to, we don't even necessarily need to be there. So it depends. It could become the way we outsourced maps and geography to AI, and we're all better off not having to memorize the topography of where we are. Or we could take it a little bit too far and outsource the things that make us human, and I think that's our actual human interactions with each other. If it's the early 90s and the creator economy doesn't exist, but now look how many people express themselves through their podcasts, who create things on platforms like YouTube, all of these avenues that have changed how humans get to relate to each other that just weren't even possible before the internet and technology. So I think it's really hard to imagine it's much easier to see what AI could replace than it is to forecast what a new technology is going to create that hasn't kind of been brought to life yet.
So in your opinion, net benefit or net detriment from the proliferation of AI in society?
It's a big question. I think if we can build AI wisely and we have the right type of leadership around it and a lot of people get a chance to shape it, AI is going to be one of humanity's most incredible, abundant chapters. But of course, that's still a big if. But if we can pull it off, I think AI is going to really take us to the next level, because it's not even just us in our daily lives. It's automating aspects of science and all sorts of insights that we're going to start to understand that we just, like, who knows, consciousness, who's out in the universe, all sorts of things. So I think if we can get AI right, it will be amazing. But of course, that's a big if. And it's also why I think conversations about artificial intelligence have to always be accompanied by the ethics. And even if you don't consider yourself a tech company, if you're using AI, you're an AI company, and you have a responsibility to think about all the ethical implications of it in your office.